Yeah, so this new litigation that's getting off the ground is on scopes, and the scopes that we're specifically looking at are for GI scopes, and so your colonoscopies and endoscopies, duodenoscopes, so either going through your mouth or the other end, and these are resulting in sepsis, so a severe infection, and the onset is pretty quick, so we're seeing it within days to weeks, typically after one of these procedures have been done. And these scopes typically are reusable. The ones that we're looking at for litigation are scopes where they will use them on one person, re-sterilize them, use them on another person, and they're not able to completely sterilize these devices.
The procedures that we're talking about here are what?
Where a lot of the literature talks about and what we've seen over the years initially is like an ERCP procedure, something where they're going down from the mouth. And a lot of times they'll go into like the bile duct or something. It might be because someone has cancer and that tissue cannot handle like a superbug. And if it's put in that area, you're going to get sepsis very quickly. And that's where a lot of the past literature has focused on this problem. What we started seeing once we investigated this more, though, is it's also happening with colonoscopy. So just routine procedures that someone would have. A lot of people over 40 get recommended to have a colonoscopy. We started seeing that that is also resulting in sepsis and a very quick onset sepsis. We struggled with the mechanism of action for a little bit on that one, as did our experts, because you wouldn't normally expect even a superbug to cause sepsis in the bowel, because your bowel can handle quite a bit of stuff. But as we've learned more about these scopes, there's other issues with the scopes that are causing some organ damage in the bowel as well, which we believe is what is giving kind of the nidus or the spot for the infection to take hold, and why we're seeing such high rates of sepsis now.
Who is it that we should or that you want to talk to right now while this is an early litigation?
Yeah, who qualifies?
The main thing I'm looking at right now is someone that has had sepsis onset very quickly after one of these scope procedures. And the reason for that is when it comes down to specific causation. And earlier I was talking about how there was this DNA sequencing that has been done in studies that lets us know in general that this is happening and it can happen. But for a lawsuit, eventually we're going to have to do what's called specific causation. And we're going to have to show that this specific scope caused you to get sepsis. And that is much harder to do on a specific case. And in most instances, we're not going to be able to do DNA sequencing to make those links. And in federal court, one of the things that we can use is temporality. And so having that infection onset as close as possible to the actual scope procedure lets us have more arguments to support specific causation. And so I would say that is what I'm primarily looking for right now.
What are some of the things that could affect someone's or any settlement in any case?
There's lots of things that we look at in evaluating this, and it's kind of a constant evaluation that we talk to the clients more and more about as we get later in the litigation and the more we know. But some things that'll make a big difference is just the state in which you reside or were injured in. The statute of limitations on that can be wildly different from state to state, which can be one of the biggest, determinations of your case value. You could have the exact same fact pattern on the exact same day and be in two different states, and the cases are worth vastly different amounts. The causation standard in different states can be completely different from, the failure to warn aspects that I was talking about and what the requirements are there to just causation on, can this be a contributing factor? Or does it have to be a but-for factor where no matter what, this wouldn't have happened otherwise? And those we see when you get to trial and you just through motion practice, cases live and die on that. And so depends on how the cases get resolved, but those things can make huge impacts even if you're incredibly injured.